Valley ate so much junk food in the 90s, you guys.
Oh, God.
It was not a healthy time.
No.
They invented so many things. Like, Gushers didn't even exist before that.
No.
Like, Now and Later's. Like, all these things. Like, Hot Cheetos didn't even exist.
No.
That's our generation's food. I'm just kidding.
Hey everyone, this is Reyna Torres and we are Women Creating Magic, and I run my own studio, and I decided to start this podcast so amazing women can sit down comfortably with a cup of tea or a glass of wine to relax and have an open conversation about their experience as women in the entertainment industry. Today I spoke with Brenda Carsey, a multi-talented musician who just released her new single, Man of Mine. Please welcome Brenda Carsey.
When did you start doing this?
Like music stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, girl. Like, which part of it? Like,
well, what made you want to, like, did you do it for fun, or did you really, was it for fun?
Initially.
I mean, it's always fun.
Yeah. No, initially, I mean, I started literally doing music and stage performing when I was, like, in preschool. So I've been forever, like, out of the womb just singing. My poor mother. I, like, literally was always like, la, 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 like, when I was really little, like, always singing. I'm sure it was cute for a minute, but...
After a while, she's like, okay.
She's like, please stop. No. But yeah, I did choir when I was, like, a tiny, tiny person, and then I did clarinet for 5 years, from, like, 3rd grade to 7th grade.
Oh, nice.
And then I switched back to choir, and I did choir 8th grade all the way through college. And did, like, traveling and competitions and all that stuff for choir.
And then I'm sure you kept up with playing music, like actual playing.
Well, that was, like, it just came about.
Oh.
That's what's, yeah, like, from me just having, I guess, just being around music, or, like, in an educational way, you learn how to read music, and then I used to just kind of, like, mess around. I was really lucky to have an upright piano when I was little.
Oh, nice.
Which was, like, no one played it. It was just sitting there. But it was, like, a family, passed down thing.
Yeah.
But luckily I could play that and have access to that.
Nice.
And, like, I didn't know what I was doing, but I would just tinker around and,
I have
like, make up little songs.
I have one, because 2 of my kids had a piano teacher.
Aww.
And they were practicing, and then my other son, he plays the flute.
Aww.
And he's trying to practice the saxophone. Yeah, they're, well, he's in college and he's taking music, so that's what he wants to pursue. But my little one still knows, like, it's funny, she's like, doesn't want to do piano anymore, but she's done it for such a long time that she knows how to read. It kind of just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
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 So then after you're growing up.
Yeah, I'm growing up. I became a woman. No, I went to Cal State Long Beach for college and to do music originally, and that's a really long story. So without calling anybody out, I ended up not doing what I originally went to college for, which is to do, like, a vocal performance major. And then I ended up just, like, I had, like, a huge awakening and, like, a very, very, very sheltered childhood. Like, very unexposed to anything in the world.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, like, no awareness of anything in any other way that anyone was alive
So this
at all.
was, like, exposure.
Super exposure, and I very much just kind of dove in, and it agreed with my spirit to just be completely lost and, like, and explore everything, and
Yeah.
I'm, like, a very curious person, so I just kind of let it go, and part of that just became, like, songwriting. So I at this point, I mean, like, 20, whatever, I had been playing piano since I was, like, 10-ish, but I'm self-taught. I never had piano lessons until college, like, proper lessons.
Was that like, different? Was that a little different? Was it difficult for you? Or
No.
It was pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I had already learned, like...
Yeah, that's why I tell my daughter, like, because she'll be like, maybe I'll play later. And I'm like, well, I mean, you know how to read music.
Yeah.
You'll be able to do it.
Yeah. I think I wish that I would have had lessons, because I would be way better now.
No way.
But I mean...
No, it is what it is.
Can you
but
do?
then
Yeah.
you did it. It's great to do it in college. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so then that's when I really started writing songs and, like, performing, and there was, like, a myriad of me performing alone, doing, like, my first EP and all that stuff, but this was back in the day. Like, I'm old as shit, you guys. So this was back in the day.
Wait, we'll take
I'm
this
looking
out.
at the camera. No,
Like, we'll take this out. How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 36.
Oh, I'm 37.
Cool.
Yeah,
We're not
age.
old. We're not old as shit.
No,
you can
no.
leave it in. I don't even
We're
care.
young. We're young.
But the thing is, like, when I started doing, like, performing as a singer-songwriter for the first time, it was before social media, It was when you had burned CDs that you burned yourself and you were just like slinging them out at people. So that's how it came up.
Like, here's my CD, guys. Yeah. Like, where'd you do this? Yeah. Like, I burned them. I got my burner.
Yeah.
From, like, Sam's Club.
And you, like, I hand drew, like, my album covers and, like, would copy them and cut them out one at a time and put them in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, very DIY.
Yeah.
Very, like, indie, very literal grassroots up. It's, like, my experience of art and music.
But isn't that, like, amazing that we can say that? Like, we were there, we did that. Like, that's really good. Like, I don't know, I just feel like that's so raw and beautiful. Raw. Like, I love it. Because it's an experience. Nobody else is going to experience. New artists are not going to experience that. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it's super different. But yeah, I guess the long story short is so college was, like, my transformation time. I went through, like, a whole slew of troubles after that, which we can get into or not.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I ended up being in, like, a post-punk new wave band for 5 years, and we toured all over the place, and that definitely opened my mind up to touring and, like, different kinds of things like that. And then after that band sadly broke up, I had already moved to LA by that point, and then I just was like, we're all in. All my chips, like, whoosh, we're doing music, like, no turning back. So that's kind of what started it, and moving to LA, like, really kicks you in the butt really hard, which I needed, apparently. And it's the best decision I ever made.
Where are you originally from?
I'm from California. I grew up in Southern California.
Okay.
My parents moved every 4 years, so I feel like I have little parts of me
everywhere.
Spread around. Yeah.
But, like, to come back and just do it yourself here, that's where it was, like, kicking your...
Well, I had never lived in a city.
Oh,
you know
like
what I mean?
City.
Like a literal city.
Yeah.
Like, LA will kick
like
your
LA.
ass. Yeah.
Oh.
Like, no one cares that you're alive.
No.
Everything costs, like, $1 bajillion. Like, all those kinds of things.
God, yes.
But for me, like, that discomfort was something that I, like, really thrived in because it pushes me to try harder for the kind of person I am. And I also was really inspired by just how many people were trying to succeed at their craft, right? Yeah. That was really inspiring to me, especially music.
There's a community out there. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's not tiny, it's huge.
No, it's massive.
Yeah.
Like thousands and thousands of people.
This is how it is. Like, Brenda knows Charles. Charles knows Sylvia. Mm-hmm. Sylvia knows Andy. Guess what? Like, we know Andy, and it trickles down to everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, Sylvia was like, remember, I was like, like, you know Sylvia Bosco? Yeah. And you're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, this is a small circle. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. And Charles, it's just, it's like, that's how the community is.
Yeah.
Like, you get to know, like,
eventually,
everybody.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then you just, like, put in, like, the dots and the circles, and there you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. I think it's cool. I was just like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah. We all, like, knew each other in a sense. It's
like an organism too. I feel like certain people find each other at different times for like a few years, and then that like kind of like octopuses out with tentacles, and then these people meet new people, and then somehow it all comes back around after like 5 years. If you can stay in the city long enough, like everyone you meet like ends up knowing each other.
Yes,
like, somehow.
It's kind of weird, right?
It's wild. Yeah.
But what I like about that is that we all kind of just like, if we see each other's like what we're doing and we're striving what we're doing, we're just like, heck yeah. That's awesome.
That's the hope.
Yeah, that's like the best thing ever. But yeah, so you moved back to like downtown, like basically downtown. Yeah. And by the way, like downtown is not what you think it looks like in TV.
No.
I don't know why people think it's like oh yeah, downtown LA, it's awesome. No.
I mean, it is awesome, but you've gotta like some edgies. You gotta like some living on the edge.
Yes, you're definitely living on the edge.
Which I do.
Yeah,
I do like.
I like it. Yeah, because it's born and raised, you know. Yeah. So you moved back there, and then what happened?
I moved there with like the dedication of never getting a day job again. That was like that period of time. So I was 27 when I moved to LA, and it was. This is, like, the thing. It's such a long story. So a lot of my friends will know this about me. Like, all of the new people, that, like, don't know me, won't know this. But, so, like, the biggest change in my life where I was, like, shook out of myself, you know, and, like, was coming out of an abusive relationship I was in for a couple years, just didn't understand myself or intimacy enough to realize or recognize it was abusive until like many years later when I could reflect.
Yeah, like how we were talking about like when we're depressed, like you know, we don't know we are until we actually like look back, and then we can recognize those patterns. Mm-hmm.
So it was messed up.
Wow.
So that was happening. I had graduated college. I was like working at an insurance agency as an administrative assistant. I know, can you imagine all of this doing that? No. But I was doing that, and they're always long stories, but I'll make it a little shorter. But I got laid off of that job after having been there a few years, and I was living alone at the time. I had just gotten out of that relationship, so I lost, like, everything all at once. I lost, like, the home I was living at with my partner. I lost the partner. I lost the job. And then I lost my apartment, my one bedroom, because I couldn't afford it because I lost my job. And so at that point, I was, like, performing as myself more and was in that other band I had mentioned as well. Yeah. So I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm even in Long Beach. I was in Long Beach at the time. So I put all my stuff into storage, and I was like, I just need to figure out what I'm doing and why. And I, like, very nicely was allowed to stay with different friends of mine and, like, couch surf, like, for free. And some people I, like, paid a little bit of money. And, like, and then I ended up, God bless his soul, like, my guitarist let me stay in our, like, it was his place, but our band's lockout studio, but for far too long. Like, I was there far too long. But it was because I was depressed and I didn't know what I was doing. And then one day I was just like, I have to move to LA. Like, I have to move into the place that I hate the most, which is the city of LA. And then when I did that, I was like, no day jobs. Like, we're, like I said, all chips in, music all the time. Let's see if I can do this. Because I had never just committed with all of my heart and soul.
Do you remember the day that happened? When you just kind of just
woke up?
This is the plan we're going to do.
It wasn't a plan. It was just like a dedication to art and music.
No way.
No plan. I was just like, I'm going to only do this. It's going to work out. But it was in May of 2013.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I was like, this is it. And then I moved to LA July of 2013. And it was, like, really scary the first couple of years. Like, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a job. I moved into a very weird place that was, like, a boarding house that had a ton of people living in it. And no one really talked to each other or liked each other. And it was really dark energy in there. It's very weird. But because it was so cheap.
Yeah.
So we do
what
we have to do. Yeah. And then it took a while. But I just slowly, like, said yes to everything I could say yes to. So someone was like, you want to do catering? I was like, yes. Do you want to do background work in commercials? Yes. Do you want to, like, play this weird show? Sure. Like, I just said yes to whatever, to meeting people, to going to parties, to anything.
Yeah. Because you knew that was, like, work, money, and then network.
And just, like, putting yourself out there. Yeah. It's just, like, a willingness to connect and a willingness to be seen is terrifying, but it's freeing in a way, you know?
It is. It's strange you say that, because when we do put ourselves in that situation, anxiety kicks in, but also there's, like, a thrill at the same time. So once it's over, you're just like, that was fun.
Yeah.
Even though leading up it was a little scary.
Yeah, terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, man, I got, like, my first, I would say, dedicated band for my music after moving to LA. One of the homies, like, I knew from Long Beach days, though. Like, he was, like, an old friend who finally started playing bass with me. I was like, please. And then he met a person who was a drummer who worked at they both worked at this elementary school, which was really cute. Like, one was a music teacher and one was, like, a on-campus, like, aide watcher person, you know? Mm-hmm. Anyway, so those two guys ended up being my main band for, like, about 5 years, which is long.
That's a long time, yeah.
And because of that, like, willingness of them to be loyal and, like, believe in me gave me genuinely, like, confidence for the first time in my life, made me, like, push harder, like, changed my sound, like, made me a better musician. And then I did...
I was about to say, you found your sound.
Well, it's changed so much now.
From then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've changed so much.
But do you feel like that change was just a growth of what you were going through?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And again, just a willingness to say yes. And, like, if people are down to be down and, like, lift you up, you're like, is this exactly what I want to sound like? I don't know. Maybe not. Do I want to be more poppy? I don't know. But this is amazing, and I'm grateful, and let's just let this... Because art is, like, forever changing, so this is a piece of art now with these people that we're creating together. So let that be what it is, organically, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and then this is, like, for all the creatives out there, I do want to extend this invitation that crowdfunding, I do think works. And if you're feeling alone, it's a great way to find out, like, who your community is. And, like, it makes you look at yourself in a very different way, which was super uncomfortable initially. So, but that, like, I do think changed my perspective on and my comfort of like becoming a business as an artist. Mm-hmm. It's a horrible experience because you're like, I'm not a business, I'm a person, I have feelings, I'm a creative, and it's not how you want to think about yourself. You like hope to have a manager, right? Like, you think about this for me, you do this. Yeah. But if you're not lucky enough to have that, which is a lot of us,
you have to play the manager role.
Yeah.
So that means you are a product that needs to go out there. Yeah.
And something like crowdfunding, it's like this opportunity to like hold yourself accountable, to be like, okay, what am I making? What are my goals?
Yeah.
Like how can people help me with those goals? Like, you know, like, and you can get this really specific big picture, and like the more specific you get, right, you end up getting these really targeted goals of like, I'm going to do this and then this and then this and then this, and you have a whole community of people holding you accountable that are like, you said you were going to do this and this and this and this, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to let you down. I said I was going to do it, so I'm going to do it. So that was really pivotal.
That's really good.
Yeah, really pivotal for me, and a lot of work, but worth it. And so after that crowdfunding, that was in 2016, and the next year I released my first like actual for real studio album, like the full-length album. So I'm like a late bloomer artist. So I'm like already old at this point. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding.
You're young.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, and then we released that in 2017. Like I went on my own tour as like my band for the first time in my life, because I had toured with other people in their bands, you know.
And that's different because it's
so different.
You're the main
yes.
one.
Yeah. So that happened, and then I don't know, everything was like the domino effect after that. It was just like pushing, saying yes, like fighting for better gigs, like fighting to play with more people, and then my band started growing.
You know, it's crazy. You're the first domino that started it. I guess. Yeah, you are. Like every person I see, it's always like you're the first domino, and that's how everything starts to trickle down. And that's how it is. That's how it was in 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the willingness, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, you went through a lot, so.
It was wild.
Yeah.
Girl, I'm leaving so much out. We just haven't the time. But then, like, oh my goodness, that crazy place I was living, which is a story in and of itself.
Is there a crazy story from that?
There's like probably like 5 books worth of crazy stories from that.
You should write.
I know.
Well, give us one.
I need like a ghostwriter who's a way better writer than I would be.
Let me know one thing.
I don't want to like insult anyone that was part of that. No, you don't have to
like mention anybody there, but
it was really dark. Like I had a roommate for a few months who was like just picking at the paint in the hallway, for example, and like there would be just a pile of paint chips building up on the floor that no one would sweep, and they stayed there. And I was like, it's not my problem, leave it there. And then like 3 months later I was like, I'm cleaning this up, this is insane. So I would always clean up. Yeah, like I lived with actual not sane or sound people. So that's just one tiny thing without making it completely terrifying, but it was terrifying.
No, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Even one little complete thing.
Yeah. So I lived there for a very long time, almost 6 years.
No.
Yeah. Because it was the cheapest thing in all of LA. I talked to everyone. I was like, this is how much I'm paying for rent. And I was like, what? Like, it was so cheap.
With its cons, so yeah.
With a lot of cons, but the discomfort thing, it was just where I was at then. Mm-hmm. It's not what I would wish for myself, nor would I accept now.
Yeah.
But at that time, 2013 to then.
Choice. Yeah, you had to.
There was no choice, but I also feel like my spirit was obviously either blind to it or was going through like a really pivotal transformation, because I did not have like healthy enough boundaries or like a sense of self or like a willingness to like communicate openly.
Okay,
that's how you're end up in a place like that.
Now think about it in this really trippy way, what you just said. You had to go there in order to be where you're at now.
Yeah.
So in order for you to build all that stuff, you had to go through
that. For me, yeah.
Yeah.
I was attracted. I was attracted to the danger and the discomfort and everything. For some reason, my spirit was like, "This is where I'm putting you," and whether it be again from lack of awareness and me still like growing as like a young person in my 20s and like coming online and being more conscious, which you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
Like wait till you get in your 30s. You guys are gonna have the best time. But yeah, just like being in your 20s and like. Just being
you're naive.
A late bloomer
you're
too.
Your 20s, you're kind of naive and you kind of think like, I can do everything I want, you know? And it's like, no, you have to mature. You have to go through a lot of shit to mature.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And it's different for everybody. Not everyone needs quite the fire.
No.
To walk through quite so much.
Not that everyone like, your darkness might not be the same darkness as anybody else. That's for sure.
I think the important thing for me, because, like, I have friends who I know have directly related to this, is sometimes we can't take a step back far enough, right? We're saying to, like, reflect, but I think sometimes if you know that you're in, like, a really bad thing where you feel scared of where you're living or uncomfortable, like, it's okay for you to say this isn't okay for me and I'm, like, worthy of feeling safe. At least at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
I just want to extend that out to any women out there, because I do think especially women can end up in, like, not safe situations sometimes and, like, not know how to get out.
And they don't know they're in that kind of situation. Yeah. It's hard. Like you said, it's like you don't know until you're out of it and you reflect and you're like, oh shit, that was really bad. Yeah. Like, I didn't see it that way.
Right.
Like, my brain and everything was trying to just, like, shut everything out. Yeah.
Yeah. So 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years.
And at the end of that 6 years, without going into too much detail, but our landlord and one of our roommates passed away in the home. And it was, like, a really traumatic experience. And we found, like, a bunch of really traumatic, intense stuff in their bedroom that, like, nobody knew about. It was really, really dark and really messed up. But it kind of, like, was the catalyst for, like, getting us all to leave the house.
Yeah.
And it's that, girl, I'm telling you, that's, like, so many books. This story, but
you should write it.
Yeah, but it was, long story short, is that I got out finally, and then it, like, 2 years of, like, processing, reflecting, and I was like, holy cow, what a dark, intense period of time that definitely made me who I was, because of the nature and, like, the energy in the home. I was never home.
Yeah.
Ever. Literally. Stayed out till 4 a.m. every day. I'm not even making that up. For the first 5 years lived in LA, I was never home. I went out every night, went to shows every night, went to bars every night, partied way too much, like, crashed on people's couches, like, would come home just to shower and go to work. Like, that's what I was doing, because I was like, I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
But the positive of that was, like, I met people. I was, like, out in the world. I was, like, receiving other creative, like, energy from people who I was like, I appreciate what they're doing. I appreciate what they're doing, you know?
Yeah.
So, good or bad,
it
worked for me, I guess.
I think, like, subconsciously you're, like, trying to avoid that place. That place is just, like, take a shower.
Absolutely.
And let's go. Just get my shit and go. Yeah.
And the interesting thing is now, in regards to, like not knowing if you're experiencing, like, abuse or pain or discomfort until after, that definitely isn't the case for me anymore.
Which is good.
But, like, again, being, like,
like, you're aware of that.
A certain age of person, like, the development of, like, just a sense of, like, self-love and, like, of like, open communication and of, like, you know, like, sharing your boundaries with people and, like, and, like, accepting those people who don't want to, like, appreciate your boundaries and, like, being, like, politely removing yourself from their existence and all those things.
Not feeling like your boundaries, like, when someone, like says, oh my God, what's up with that? Mm-hmm. Not feeling like, oh, is my boundaries a little too extend? It's like, no. They're not. No. They're not. They're your boundaries. Mm-hmm. Stick with them. They feel that's what you're comfortable with, and stay with it. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people need to understand also when someone's actually, like, putting out themselves and there's boundaries to it, like, respect that. Mm-hmm. You know, because it's a two-way thing going on here.
Yeah. And, like, not be offended if that means that you're not each other's people. And that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You shouldn't. Like, you shouldn't.
Yeah. I think that's, like, the biggest thing that changed is, like, I've always had an abundance perspective and mentality in regards to just, like, I don't know, exploring and being in the world. It's very much my spirit, but I think that concept has, like, migrated and grown in regards to people. Mm-hmm. And, like, and also is how I like to move through the community in LA. Like, the choices I make, or, like, the events that I book, or the things that I do to, like, help uplift other artists around me are very much from the perspective that, like, you being you isn't going to take away from me being me. No. Right?
No, I think when you did that show is it Highland Park that you did it at the
every
bowling?
week,
Yeah, mm-hmm. And then you're the one who kind of just takes everything, like, you're the not the producer. You're kind of like the.
I'll take producer.
Okay, you're the producer. Well, that's what I thought it was. I thought you were the producer, kind of just getting all these artists to start playing there. So.
Well, that one is, so it's an open mic is why. So it's just whomever wants to come, but first come, first serve kind of a thing. And then I book one featured act in the middle of it. But it's just been so fun, and it's been growing so much.
But you're in charge of, like, doing that, so that's the cool part about it.
I'm a professional space holder.
Yeah, basically, that's what you want to say. This producer. Let's change it to producer.
It's like I'm an event producer, and that event specifically, it's my job to be present and hold space for other people to express themselves and feel
Charles
safe.
got to play there and everything. Yeah, I wanted to go and take photos of you guys.
Aww.
But I couldn't
He
because
did a great job.
Yeah, I couldn't because what was that day that fell? I forgot what I was doing that day. We were doing something. It was your birthday. Not your birthday, but it was his
celebration.
It was a celebration, and I was like, oh no, I can't.
That's okay.
I just was like, I literally was like, oh look, I can go after this. He's like, well, do you remember we have to like go here? And I'm just like, oh, I am so sorry, I did not put it in the calendar.
Your birthday doesn't matter. No, I'm just kidding. Birthdays
like,
are the best.
It was like days before your birthday even hit. So I was like, oh well. But no, so 2017, released your first album.
Yeah, went on my first tour. And then that's what, like, the important thing was. And then, like, we were still playing, we were touring, like, writing new songs. Like, at this point in time, I'm playing with, like, a 7-piece band now.
Oh, shit, that's cool.
Like, locally. I'm not touring with it because I don't have the money for that.
But that's
locally,
still, like, that's still cool.
It was so fun. Yeah. So much fun. So grateful for the people who make music with me. They're so talented. And then we had, like, had that big of a band and played some of these new songs long enough that I could hear, like, I already was like, I know how I want this produced in studio. So then I was like, I think I'm going to do another crowdfunding. So this is now 3 years after my first one. This is at the end of 2019. And I did, man, and I succeeded again, with the help of, like, people who care that I'm alive at all, which is a miracle.
Care and believe, yeah.
It's a miracle every time. It really is. And then the plan was to go into the studio, like, kind of spring 2020, and then obviously everything was halted and shut down.
So you're saying, like, you were supposed to go in spring of 2020.
Yeah. Basically what was happening is, like, I was very much on, like, the snowball growing trajectory. Like, I, like, could feel it in my body. Like, the momentum, like, of my success or whatever was, like, moving. It was like bam, 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 next album, and then I'm touring them, and now I'm playing all these big venues, and now I'm, like, traveling to New York and traveling to Nashville, and I was like, my little indie game was coming up. And then so, like, the shutdown, I've been saying this to everyone, I feel for every artist on the planet, but I especially feel for those people who were, like, starting to make moves, because everyone who was already moving, I'm like, you're gonna be fucking fine. Like, Beyonce, bitch, you fine. Yeah, like, you're gonna be just fine. And then, like, the people who are, like, just starting, I'm like, it's unfortunate, but you're fine too, because you haven't put in, like, the years of energy yet to, like, feel, like, deep loss just yet.
It's
all that middle
ones that are, like, the middle. Yeah.
Oh, it was painful. So that next album got put on hold. But then, you know, all of us were kind of playing the, like, how long will this be? Let's wait and see.
What were you doing after we realized it was going to be till, like, the end of the fucking year? So.
Yeah. Or, like, for, like, who knows, right?
Like, we knew that, okay, by like, May, June, we're like, yeah, we're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. So what did you kind of start doing?
Well, at that, like, most of 2019 and into 2020, I was only doing music for my living. Okay. I had, like, succeeded in, like, achieving that goal. That's all I was doing via, like, booking, performing, like, both myself and my music and, like,
so
covers.
Sad because I hear that and I'm just like, fuck, all of that was gone. Because everybody tells me, it's like, it was all gone. And I was like,
it was all gone. But it's also, like, did I put all of my eggs into live music, and maybe I should, like, spread out a little bit? Like, probably. It hasn't happened yet, because, like, when things reopen, I was like, I just need to get money going again. So, like, I do, like, live music is what I do. And it's also my most favorite thing. Yeah. It's my favorite part of the industry, you know? Yeah. Is live music, because it's special and it's temporary and the energy is beautiful. Yeah. It's my favorite. But so I lost 100% of my income and 100% of my jobs, and it was terrifying. I immediately applied for like artist grants, so like an emergency grants and COVID grants. I was like, my brain's first thing was like apply for any like small grant that I can, which I got like 3 of them that were like smaller ones, thank God. So it was like a month of like safety.
Yeah.
And then I did apply for like unemployment because for the first time in American history they let freelancers apply for unemployment, which had never happened.
Which it was amazing because I was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took 8 months for me to get approved for it.
Shit. Why so
It was
long?
wild. So I was just eating away at savings, which is wild. And this whole time, keep in mind, I had done a crowdfunding at the end of 2019 and I was sitting on a huge stack of cash, never spent a cent. Just stayed in a savings account. I was like, that's not my money. That's for this one project. So
Don't touch it.
I was looking at it and I was like, oh, that's a lot, but nope, can't. It's not my money.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I was applying for grants. I was like doing random things, and then by the time like we're waiting, like let's see, maybe it'll only be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, right? I ended up getting. I was like, everyone's child's at home. Everyone needs help, so I got a nanny job. Because I'm like, what do you do, right?
You're the second person that told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've always loved kids, for real. So I ended up doing 24 hours a week, 3 days, 8 hours a day for an entire year.
Yeah, because there was like Zoom meetings and needed someone to be there and help them out. Yeah.
Helped with homework, literally, cook dinner, like play with them all day. I mean, I was there 8 hours a day, like all day. Yeah. Because both of those parents didn't lose their jobs. They both were still working the whole time. Yeah.
But like in their office? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Both from home and physically.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing.
One of them worked in pharmaceuticals, and pharmaceuticals never sleeps.
Yeah.
And
and
then the other person is a therapist. So she wasn't seeing her clients directly. They were doing Zoom, but she would still go to her like office building and Zoom from there, so she wasn't at home with like all the children. Yeah. So I did that for a year, and then I like also around like July, August, I was like, this is forever, I guess. So I started doing live streams, like, and not like just me, myself, and I started like, cause I missed
you and
the
everybody
community.
else was like, fuck, when is this gonna go away?
Yeah.
It was scary.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah. And it was like, there was a lot of learning curve stuff, like who could be flexible, who could like adapt or learn all these things. But I ended up, doing 36 weeks straight of Circle Up is what I ended up calling it, which was like a once a week songwriter thing with myself plus 3 songwriters. Sylvia did one. And just to like, I'm like, that way, like at least some people could see each other or meet someone new or like still play. And we had like people that would watch, and like we would, accept tips, and we would just split everything evenly amongst everybody and just kind of get some energy and something happening.
No, and people were watching it because we were stuck at home, and you can so much like Netflix stuff. So
it was fun. It was honestly fun. Like it was not like ideal or what any of us would prefer, but it was cool though.
We had to like transform ourselves to the situation that was happening.
And then like, of course, you remember like, I don't know how political you are, but my partner and I are like all in. So I think it was just dark. It was just dark times for everyone for so many reasons. Like the powers that be, which we very much disagreed with, like the things that like the rest of mainstream America was just waking up to, that the rest of us are like, it's been this fucked up forever. Like I'm glad you're waking up.
Are you talking about we're just like, we need to vote someone out of this quickly?
I'm talking about the mistreatment of Black people. I'm talking about police brutality. I'm talking about, I'm like,
when they were doing those, so
how did you just wake up to this,
my business was still running here. I still had to pay my lease because I had a contract. So my lease went all the way up to August. So imagine, I had nothing. There was no income. There was nothing coming in.
Crazy.
I couldn't do shit. But I remember there was a protest, and everybody was already, because the protests in Long Beach went crazy. So they were doing one here, and I was like, shit, I need to go to my building and take out the most like expensive equipment and paperwork. I need to go now. So my mom was like, I'll go with you. And I'm like, okay, come on, let's go. It's a mission. So we're driving over here before it starts. And we're grabbing the stuff. And the funny part, there's our next door neighbor, the Hot Box, I believe. They're a studio. but they like smoke a shitload of weed. They're like cholos, and like legit, they're like cholos, and they're the coolest guys. So they were ready. They brought all their homies. They were all chilling, drinking. They were on like this, like if you see it, there's like a little area where you can see outside, and they're like, "Nah, man, it's okay. Like we got this. Like don't worry. Like you can take your stuff, but we're gonna take care of this building."
Yeah.
And they were like ready to get down. And I'm like, this is security. I'm cool. I told my mom,
we'll just prevent you from having to do that.
Because we're going upstairs, and my mom, I'm like, what the fuck? And they're looking at me like, who the fuck are you? And I'm just like, and I know the owner, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, oh, yeah, man. And you can tell her, like, oh, no, she's cool. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm walking into my room, and I'm like, okay, Mom. She's like, my mom's in Spanish. She's like, oh, my God, los cholos. And I'm like, Mom, it's okay. They're our friends. Our cholos are our friends today.
Yeah.
Walking out as I'm driving, I'm like, look, Mom, at least I'm happy. Like, they're taking care of the building. I don't give a fuck. Like, that's all that matters to me. So they took care of the building because Whittier was like, okay, it's going to be a peaceful protest, but we don't know if it's going to be peaceful. We always have those bad apples. And, yeah, that time it was a lot of shit. And you're right. There is, I talk to Anthony about it all the time where I'm just like, it really freaking annoys the fuck out of me that people are, like, so naive, not thinking, like, oh, wow, it's like, this is really happening. Like, it's been happening.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what was, like, it was, like, even all the more depressing how many people weren't on board or, like, aware of it across the country. I was like, really? But also, like, cool and, like, welcome to the club, I guess, of being consciously aware of how fucked so many things are.
I don't know.
So I'm, like, better late than never.
That is strange.
Right?
There was a lot of people who weren't really, like, it's like us not being aware of what's going on in the other side of the world, you know? Yeah. So it's, but I guess...
Not even because they live here.
I know, it's just strange because they do live here. Unless they just really wanted to avoid it. It's one of those, like, I just want to avoid it. I don't want that to funk my day.
Yeah.
That's usually the case. And it's funny because he'll see me, like, I'll read something and then be like, I'll be tearing up. Like, when I found out that they're taking our rights for us to have abortions, and I was just like, it's not the abortion part. It's the fact that they're telling us what to do with our body. Like, they're telling us, I cannot make the choice, so I cannot do anything, like, to my body, but yet a dude can do what the fuck they want to be doing. Like I don't see that, and I remember I was just tearing up, and like, this is not fair. Like, this is not fair. Like, you don't have to worry. You're a guy, but for me, it's like a sense of like my privacy, my body. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is not cool. Like, for them,
it's scary. It's really scary.
It's really scary, and I'm happy that California didn't like stay with that.
Yeah.
But there's other people like legit talking about how their appointments got canceled. They can no longer take their certain birth control. Certain birth controls they can take because they're not able to do the blood cloth or anything. Like, they get blood cloth if they use other kinds. And I'm just like, seriously? And then the conversations, because if you see like the live streaming, it's ridiculous. For me, I get emotional for it. I start crying. I remember that day I just started fucking tearing up because I was just... You could feel it. Yeah. You could feel it. It's strange, but you could feel, like, all the women are just like, what the fuck?
Well, it's directly, like, representative of, like, how we treat anybody who's trying to have, like, the freedom to exist and, like, take care of their own bodies. And that includes trans rights, and that includes, like, anybody who's like, this is how I feel, and this doesn't feel safe, and this is how I want to treat my body. It's, like... Other people policing other people's bodies doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
Primarily because of my perspective and, like, a spiritual perspective. I'm like, your body isn't, like, who you are. Like, this is, like, the meat sack you were born in that you walk around the planet in. And you're trying to tell me how to, like, take care of my robot that carries my spirit around the planet in? This is just the thing. This is the sack that carries me. I gotta take care of it my own way. Yeah. This isn't your meat sack. You take care of your meat sack.
Yeah. You know, that's what
like,
I really hated
so
about
weird.
that. It's that the fact they're like, okay, don't get an abortion, be pregnant, whatever situation it was. I'm like, okay, I'll get pregnant, but then I'm stuck with, like, I can't really move forward because there's childcare. Now there's, like, okay, now I have to be in the welfare. Okay, now I'm considered, like, this low-income person. Like, oh, she doesn't want to do anything because she has welfare. And I'm like, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like, some people really cannot have, and sometimes... You know, accidents happen, they get pregnant, and they just really can't have.
Well, it's part of, like, yet another like systemic failing.
Yeah, and then not to say
It's a cycle.
I have 4 kids, so it's like you can't be like, and I'm like, no, I have 4 children. By the way, 3 of them that are autistic and 1 that's ADHD. So it's like, you cannot tell me like, oh, you're not. I'm like, no, I have kids, and on top, like, I work my ass off to take care of them, but I don't agree with what's going on here. Like, it's just, I just like, can you just chop out guy's dick? I'm so sorry, Anthony. I'm sorry, but I'm just like, can't you just like snip them? Like, would that be a lot easier?
Or give him a pill, whatever.
Yeah, give him a pill. Like, have him stop.
Well, and that would, but that, like, for that to happen, we'd have to understand that we're all in the existence of life together, which we're not, which isn't a hippie thing to say either. It's just like, you're alive and I'm alive and you're alive next to me, which means we're alive together. Just that very aspect of you existing near me means that we're going to affect one another.
Yeah.
So until, like, there's a perspective of, like, an acceptance of, like, us impacting one another and, like, choosing to have a positive impact on one another, like, I like, fear that it won't change. Because you have to be, like...
It's hard.
And the willingness to, like, step into your responsibility and role for, like, something happening. So in this circumstance, like, having a child or contributing to somebody having a child. So the willingness to be like, I'm responsible for that. I'm 50% responsible for that.
And that's not
and
always
like,
the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. But yeah, like, so 2020, without, like, I feel like all of us kind of dismiss it. We're like, you know, it was fucked up for everybody. But, like, it was so dark.
It was dark.
It was so heavy. It was so dark. And it was, like, I also feel, this is what I wanted to share with you. It was so telling of how flawed and distracting capitalism is. Because the reason that so many people woke up to all these really entrenched systemic issues for the first time is because everyone's work stopped. So the busyness of, like, hustle, make money, come up, yeah. Like, you're like, no, everything's stopped and you're just where you are and you have to sit with the shitty thing you said to your friend and you have to sit with, like, this thing happening in the world around you. And we had to sit with it all at once.
Yeah.
At once!
Yeah.
So we all were in an immense amount of depression.
We were...
All at once.
All at once.
As a country, as a world, whatever.
But it was
wild.
What I did like about that is that a lot of people started to really recognize themselves in a situation where it was like, I can make it work working at home. My mental state feels so much better.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have to, like, get up, run to work, like, have to associate with other people, just concentrate. I don't have someone micromanage me in here. And a lot of people are starting to notice, like, their worth. That where I really loved, because that was, like, a pivotal moment that people were just like, no, I'm worth this. Like, I'm not gonna, like, we don't have to do that anymore. I can just do it here. We made it possible for us to do it here. So it's like, and then corporate is sort of like, no, we want you to come back. Like, I don't really need to come back.
Because you're like, I'm not alive for you.
No.
That's not why I'm alive. I'm not alive for you, but I'll help you with your thing if you treat me well, and then we can be alive together. You know what I mean?
I just didn't get that. I was just like, wait, like, corporate is saying, like, to go back, but I'm just like, but they made it very possible for you to work at home, and it was successful.
Well, now it's getting creepy, though, with the at-home stuff, with the monitoring.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
With the computer monitoring. They did a really interesting piece on it on The Daily on NPR. Michael Barbaro, what's up? I'm just kidding. That name's hilarious. It just is. I love his last name. But they did a really interesting piece about that. That was kind of terrifying.
I only read a little bit about it, but I have to listen to that.
It's pretty terrifying.
Ooh.
Very robot-y, very, like they're taking, like, photographs of you, too, to, like, prove that you're active and, like, to tell by facial recognition technology, like, if it looks like you're actively working or thinking or processing or whatever. And if you're not, they deduct pay from you because they're like, well, you weren't actually working and we have proof.
Oh,
terrifying.
Gosh.
Terrifying.
That sucks because what if they do that to you when you're actually at the location?
But also, more importantly, who cares? You're like, yeah, I stopped working for 2 fucking minutes because I went to get a glass of water. Is that okay with you? Can I, like, hydrate myself for a moment and not lose my job? Because there's so much, like, fear culture around, like standard jobs that it's nonsensical, first of all, and it, like, breaks my heart. It doesn't need to be like that. Like, people can get... Because you already have, like, an army of people contributing to your dream, not to any of their dreams. So you don't need to shit on them too if they're already helping you get wealthy and like achieve your dream.
No, it's
they're
true.
just workers making your shit pop off.
I know.
It's so wild.
It's really stupid.
But then I wanted to share this too, just to get back to art, just for funsies.
Yes.
But so like when all that was happening and like my project was put on hold and all that stuff, and like the year unfolded and like got a job nannying, and we were like, my boyfriend and I were actively going to protests, and like it was just so wild. But I had been sitting on this other album that I had also recorded like for like a couple years, and I was like, am I releasing this? Maybe not ever. But since I had stuff that was done, I ended up releasing this all acoustic guitar album called Sirens. And then as like 2020 went on, I became like so uninspired to play music. Like the last thing I wanted to do was touch an instrument. Like there was just so many feelings that what I ended up doing, because I was like, I need to do something with all this energy and like feeling. But I ended up like producing beats, because for some reason, like the crunchy tones and like the aggressive, like just the kick and stuff, I was like, this feels better to me right now.
Because of what you're going through. Yeah.
So I ended up like, as just an exercise, I was like, once a day for the next 2 weeks, I'm just going to try to make a 2-minute beat thing to just kind of get myself out of my head and focus on something and just try to put emotion into it. And at the end of the 2 weeks, I was like, dude, well, I mean, I don't have like anyone telling me not to release this, even though it's EDM music and it's not my genre at all. So I ended up releasing it. And it's just an all instrumental EDM album, except for one song that has lyrics. So that's out there. That exists. It has nothing to do with anything I do. But I was like, this is like a stamp of the time. This is right now.
That's literally an emotion.
Yeah. Like, there's, like, titles called, like, Sick. Like, it just, like, the whole loop is just, like, you're sick over and over again. It just repeats that. It's a very, like, Berlin, like, super hardcore
like,
EDM song.
Yes.
One of the titles is Riot, and I just used, like, different synth sounds to make it sound as though it was, like, helicopters and, like, alarms and glass breaking and, like, cops, but it made a beat out of all that kind of stuff. So, and, like, one was called Smoke, because, y'all, I was just, like, smoking all the time. I was like, what do I do right now?
I feel like everybody was smoking all the time.
It was very fun. I enjoyed that part. It was great. No responsibility to smoke weed all day. No, I'm just kidding.
It really sounds like this album was, like, your emotions.
It
like,
was
it really is your
freedom.
Feelings. Like,
It was just, like, observational and then reflected in the
That's
the
really
music,
cool,
right?
because when you're expressing it to me with words, it literally, I'm resonated with, like, it's your emotions. Like, that's an emotion. Like, that's all your emotions. Like, it's music, but it's, like, really the way you feel. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's,
like, one is about social media. That's the only one that has lyrics.
I have
the one
to
that's
listen
about
to
social
it,
media.
and then we'll play it a little bit here.
Okay.
Like, hey, people, you're
There's a music
gonna listen
video.
for, like, 20 seconds.
Yeah. There's a music video for the one that has lyrics, which was a single called Scroll Click. Since we were all just stuck. That's all we were doing, right? We were just stuck on our devices for like a year and a half.
TikTok.
It was wild.
Click, scroll, click, scroll, click, scroll, click, scroll, click. Getting lost in upward swipe, stories, photos, pictures, hype. Feeling like your life's on hip. Compare yourself, can't get a grip. They seem cool, she seems red. He seems funky, I wish I had. Never feel quite like you're living on the top. Want what they have, don't want what you got. Travel, tour, club, score, hottie, shoot, booty, cute, clothes, swag, bows, brag, photos, pro, video, ho. Never enough, endless want. My life needs, so I can flaunt. Me. I. Gotta post. Gotta like. Scroll, click.
So like, I just wanted to share like a happy thing. So like, after all that happened.
Yeah.
And then last year, 2021, like, finally like reopening the open mic. Finally like having
like people
a
are
place for
opening up.
community to come. Like finally like starting to play shows again. And at the top of 2021, so this was like a year after I was supposed to, I finally went in the studio to record what I had crowdfunded for in 2019.
Yeah.
In
You're just like,
2021.
money's there. We gotta do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't
yeah.
spend it. I was like, posting on the Indiegogo thing. I'm like, it's all there. We're still doing it. I'm not giving up on you guys. And like,
that's funny.
so
Wait,
we
was
went.
this like 2021?
This is 2021.
You're like, it's a good year. Let's go for it.
And we were still shut down. We were still wearing masks at this point
we are,
because it was early 2021.
Yeah. Unless you're in Orange County, because they're just not giving a fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I'm like, did you play in Orange County?
Right.
I know they were open for sure.
No. I wasn't playing it. I didn't play a show until like August of 2021.
Okay. Well,
I took it real seriously.
That's when like really because I know
June is when LA opened and took the masks
but
away for a minute.
Early 2021, because I used to work in Seal Beach,
and
and we would go eat let's go eat some breakfast, and I'll be like, shit, there's like a lot of people with like no masks.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we're in Orange County, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
that is why. Sorry, people, if you're from Orange County, I apologize.
There's no hate. There's no hate.
Hate.
I'm not gonna lie. October 2021, I intentionally went to Orange County for a vacation because I was like, I need to not wear a mask for like 2 days. I can't anymore. I was like losing it after like a year and a half wearing a mask. I was losing it. So I did. I was like, this is my weekend where I don't give a fuck.
I think we were all losing it at a time.
Yeah.
Because for me, where I worked in Seal Beach, it was a clinic. So I had to wear it all the time.
Yeah. Like all day.
Time. Like 2020 and the first half of 2021, we had a double mask all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So that was really because
and so uncomfortable.
Well, because what we did was like the eyes, so we're like really up in your face.
That's fair.
Yeah. It's not like dentistry. That's really up in your face.
Right.
But that's really like, you're going to get
But you're
sick.
close. Yeah,
We're close. Where, we had to like double mask.
Right.
We had to wear it all the time.
Right.
And like people were just like, well, why do we need to wear a mask here? And I'm like, because we're still
because our face is going to be right here.
And then you would be surprised if people would be like, oh yeah, I went on a little with my family and they just told me right now that someone was positive and they're there without a mask. And I was just like, you just like openly just told me that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, but back to like what you're doing here.
No.
Like, 20, let's try to forget 2020.
Well, the positive thing, so it's so funny because I haven't really released any of this footage yet, but I will next year. But it's going to be weird because we're like masked and my hair was like down here at this time too. I had COVID hair. My hair was like straight up, like didn't cut it for 2 years. Like it was so long.
Do you remember like people trying to dye their hairs and stuff like
at home?
That? Oh my god!
So I mean, why not?
Or trying to sneak into like so like I'm not gonna say where because I don't want them to get in trouble. But I was like, I really need to get my hair cut.
Oh yeah.
So I believe it was like a quarter into 2021, and then barbershops and salons we're not really open.
Yeah. Or they did like the sidewalk thing.
So what they did was like I would call and be like, do you guys still like accept like, oh yeah, we do, like, but you have to go through the back door.
Yeah.
So like, okay, but you gotta call us when you're in the back door.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck, this is so sneaky. So I'm like, okay, I'm here.
Which was so dumb, by the way.
Oh god.
There was like such a lack of rational thinking in like what was shut down and what wasn't, and what like where I'm like, if we all wear masks, it's actually safe and we'll be fine. It was so weird. Like the hair cutting thing didn't need to shut down. It just didn't. That was the weirdest thing.
You just said the mask thing. I would have patients with masks that had holes.
Oh my gosh! You're like that defeats the purpose.
And then
the mesh ones, without the clear though.
Yes, it was like
it was a fashion mask.
Yes, and then I had one lady where I had to be the bad apple, I guess, there, and let her know, like, I'm sorry, but the opticians are refusing to work with you, because what she did was got like a piece of cloth and she just barely covered. Like it wasn't even a mask; it was just a piece of cloth that kind of like covered a little bit. And we're like, I'm sorry, and it was like pretty like not. It was like the beginning of 2021, like and we're just like. Unless you like, we offered her, we had masks. Right. And she didn't want to wear them. So I'm like, why even wear, if you're going to wear this, wear a fucking mask. Right. So we're like, we're refusing, here's your own paperwork.
That's so funny.
Get the fuck out, away from here.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It was just,
I love it.
It was so stupid.
I kind of love it. A little bit.
You have no idea. Like, I had dealt with your water. Do you want some water? I have some water
I'll take a water.
Sure.
Thank you.
But no, it's a bunch of Karens.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
A bunch of Karens. Because we're, where we're at, we're very close to the leisure world, so it's like...
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say, really quick, this is just a tangent, but before I was born, My mom originally wanted to name me Karen.
Oh, thank God.
That was, I know. And
Can I have what
she didn't for, like, a number of reasons, but, only during the shutdown, I was like, I'm really glad my mom didn't name me Karen.
Well, at least she wasn't going to name you Petunia. Like, that's what my mom
Really?
was going to call me. Yeah, she was going to call me Petunia Torres.
Honestly, though,
Petunia's
you would have been a really cute little girl, though.
It's Petunia is like a beautiful flower. Don't get me wrong, but my mom still fucked up my name because my middle name is spelled like Marlin the fish.
Marlin?
Yes, but in Spanish it's Marlene.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in English, if you're gonna do Marlene,
Everyone's like
it's
Marlin.
Lene.
Yeah, yeah.
No, mine is Lyn at the end, so it's Marlin, like Marlin, like the fish, basically. So I'm just like, yeah,
that's really funny.
Yeah, my name is from my grandmother. Reyna is actually from my grandmother because
that's a
I was like the
name.
first. Thank you.
Yeah.
She said, well, when my mom told me, she's like, she named you that because you were the first. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the first grandchild, and I was the girl.
Yeah.
And then my mom.
I love that.
My mom was like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, you must have been drugged up because you were really gonna call me Petunia. I was like, I don't know if I could have went life with Petunia. I would have just been
You're
like, hey,
so
my
funny.
name's Marlon.
I honestly think Petunia is a very cute name. I get why it's not for you.
She calls us by
cute.
our nickname. So she calls me, my sister, and my daughter Petunia.
Oh,
or
my
Petunita.
gosh.
Like, that's what she calls us as our nicknames.
That's really funny.
Yeah, but I know for
that's
a
how
fact.
she went around it. Yeah.
Yes. So she calls my daughter like, hi, Petunia, come here.
Aww.
Yeah, it's a trip.
That's cute.
Yeah, but then...
She just wants to have a bunch of little flowers.
Yeah, but see, the funny part is that she was all drugged up for the second one, for my daughter, and my cousin, sneaky little shit, and if you hear this, I don't care, she was like, Carol, because that's my mom, call her by my name. So my cousin's name is Jessica. She literally told my mom, you should call her Jessica. And she called my sister Jessica. So every time we're talking, I'm telling my mom, oh yeah, I told Jessica about this. She's like, which one, the sister or the cousin? And I'm just like, fuck, like, why do we have to do this? Like,
right.
Why did you have to call her that? Because all our family and the women family, we all name each other by our middle name. My mom's first name is Hortensia, but her middle name is Carol. And then same thing for my aunts and my cousins. And for me, they don't call me Reyna, they call me Marlene.
Really?
They just literally call me, like,
weird.
Like, he'll hear it.
Why?
Like, he'll hear it, like, it's like Marlene, and I'm like, hey, what's up?
Weird.
But they don't call me by my first name.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So, but the Jessicas,
right?
They both have middle names, but for some reason we don't
get the
call
first name.
them by their middle name.
Right.
Because apparently my cousin, she hates her middle name. She's like, I think it's Christina or something like that, and she's just not a big fan. And then my sister, her middle name is Carolina, which is my mom's name. So I was just like, damn, Mom, like, what were we doing?
That's so funny.
So yeah, it's a confusion when it's like.
I love it.
It's hilarious, especially if she live close by me,
right.
What she did before she moved out. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go over to Jessica's house. I'm going, and my mom's all like, can you ask yourself? I'm like, I'm not in that Jessica's house.
Right.
I'm in someone else Jessica's house. Right. And if we're family together and we're just like Jessica, they're both answering us.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. That's funny though.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's like the family thing happening there.
Aww. Oh my God.
Okay, so 2021, you're starting to already.
I finally go back to the studio.
Yes.
Finally.
To do did it feel sort of like riding a bike all over again?
No, I was so ready.
It just felt like ready.
I was so ready.
Awesome.
And I will say that because of the shutdown, I believe like all the people who are playing on this album are my favorite players in Los Angeles.
Oh, nice.
And they were my first choices. And all of them said yes.
Well, yeah.
And had it not been shut down, I don't think they would have said yes. I don't think it would have paid enough. I think they would have been on tour. They would have been, but
they would have been doing something.
It worked out for me selfishly.
Yeah.
That they were down, and it was so fun. So this was like my second, like proper studio album. Mm-hmm. It's not out yet, it's coming, but and I did it at this great studio in Echo Park, and like it was the first time I did it like what I felt was in a rock star way, where instead of doing it like the first studio album, I did it on the weekends, like every weekend for like a month we would come in, and because we all had jobs at that time. But for this one, I like booked out 2 weeks at the studio straight through, and all we did every single day, that's all I did. It was so fun. I've always wanted to do that.
Did you record that? Like,
what?
Did you, like, like video like did you film?
I filmed
you
not
guys
every
that?
single day,
Okay.
but I filmed strategically. Yeah, so I have a lot of footage from it, but it's not out yet. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun. Because a lot of people like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Stuff. Like they really do love
The
that.
plan is to like cut together a type of documentary thing, but I didn't want to release it prior to the album coming out because we're playing like the modern music industry game, which is that I'm releasing a bunch of singles from the album first, and then the album will come after, and that's kind of just like industry standard for music. Yeah, so, but it was so much fun. I genuinely had the best time with, like, everyone that worked on it. Everyone was so talented. Everyone was super nice. Like, people were really present. They gave it their all, and it was really great.
Well, everyone was hungry for it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why they all say yes, because they were just like, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, it was great. And then, like, I mean, so that was in May of 2021, and then that was, like, there was still a bunch of, crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then, I ended up cutting my hair in like August of last year, and then
which, by the way, people in the podcast, it looks beautiful.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
it does.
you.
It looks really good.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I used to cut my hair short like that, but now it's just like I'm not gonna cut it.
It's a pain in the butt. You gotta style it and like do it.
Well, I get to a point. I had cut it like really short, and then one day I was just like, man, I have to wait until I do the bun thing. Like I'd be like, not there yet. I'm like, not there yet. Yeah, because I'm like the type who's like lets it grow and then just cuts it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you had that COVID hair. How long was it?
It was like to my like almost belly button, like past my rib cage, like
that's
real long.
Really long.
Yeah, really
What did you do
long.
with the hair?
I donated it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm donating my daughter's hair.
Yeah.
Her hair is so thick, and she has like little highlights of red and blonde hair highlights naturally. So I told her, why don't we donate your hair? And she's like, donate? Because she wasn't, she's 10. So I told her, no, yeah. And she's like, but to who? And I'm explaining to her. She's getting all emotional. And I was like, no, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to donate her hair.
Oh, that's really cute. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, so she's going to have the whole experience.
So fun.
Yeah, it's my first time doing it. So I'll be like,
just
okay,
like
cool.
gigantic ponytail.
Yeah.
Or you braid it. It's fun if you braid it.
She has so much hair. Like.
That's amazing.
It's thick.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I wish I had your hair,
Yeah.
child.
Yeah. So funny.
Sometimes I look at her and I was like, and she hates it when I comb it. And she's like, and I'm like, look, I'm trying not to hurt your child.
It's because she's
But
10.
I'm just like, ugh. Yeah. So
she's just at the age.
Yeah. My mom braids her like crazy, and she
so
it's crazy. And
so
she's
fun.
10.
Yeah.
She has my jeans, which I love. She looks like a miniature version of me. But people should. I'm just saying it out there. She got her period. And she's like 10 and a half. And I'm just like, yeah, it freaked me out.
Yeah.
And I was just like, she's 10, but she still likes playing with toys and stuff. And then, last night I'm sitting with her.
Yeah.
And she's like talking to me and we're watching the show. And I'm just like, oh, my best friend is becoming a teenager. Okay, a preteen. Okay, cool. I was like, how do I... Nobody teaches you this shit. Like, there's no books. So I, like, literally started, like, tearing up when my mom told me... Because my daughter, she was really sick. And I was just like, oh, my God, we need to give her medicine. She had a fever. And then that happened. I, like, literally left. And my mom's like, you need to hurry up back home. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And she's like... look, and I'm like, that's blood. And I'm like, what? And I go to her, I'm like, come here. And she's like, what? I'm like, did you know, like, you're in your period? And I already had prepped her because I noticed that she was developing, and I'm like, you probably are like me, where I got it really young.
Yeah.
So I was just like prepping her. I already told her, so she had an idea. It's not like out of the blue.
Right.
And I told her, like, look, and she's like, I thought that was poop.
Oh my God.
I was like, look, that's how young she is. And she's saying that it's poop.
I feel like you're never ready though.
No.
No matter what.
No.
Even if you're like really late, you're still young.
I don't think so.
Like even if you're 14, you're still young.
You're still young.
That's still really young.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're never old enough.
No. And then
to get your period for the first time.
I tell Anthony like she still likes playing with toys and stuff, and it's like, what the heck? And
I like playing with toys now, girl. I'm probably gonna get menopause soon. I'm just kidding.
Did you get? Are you gonna get the adult Happy Meal?
No.
I
only like their breakfast.
I just want to get for the toy.
The toy.
That's it.
You should do it. I support you doing it, but I first of all trying to never eat there. The only things that I get there is when I'm feeling really desperate and I get McFlurries. I'm not gonna lie, get Oreo McFlurries. What's up? or an egg McMuffin. That's it.
We don't
That's
eat
it.
there.
Those are the only things.
The only time, I think it's been 10 years since I've ate there. And the only time we went there was, like 2 weeks ago. Because we were going to the observatory and I was taking my daughter and my daughter was hungry. So I was like, okay, let's just get it. And I told him, hey, let's just get some chicken nuggets and fries because it's going to be a long drive. And in my head, I'm thinking, fuck, it's been like 10 years. Because I avoid all fast food. Like, In-N-Out is okay. It's okay once in a while here or there. But we do not eat. Like, literally, we cook at home.
That's great.
So when we did that, I was like, oh, I remember all of this. Like,
it's like,
cool.
It's a nostalgic taste.
But there's one thing I do
wild.
want to buy. I want to get, for my daughter, I want to get her the, you remember the buckets? Like, the Halloween buckets?
Yeah.
As a kid?
Yeah.
Well, it's out. Like, it's out. I don't know when.
Like a glow-in-the-dark one?
Yeah. They have the pumpkin, the ghost, and the Frankenstein.
The white one?
Yeah.
Was it like a white one with like the glow-in-the-dark?
Right now, they have it as limited edition. They're going to start giving it out next week, I think.
I think I had one of those. That's so funny. It was like white but glow-in-the-dark, and it had like the pumpkin face, right? Yeah.
So they have those out. So I have to I told them,
embarrassing.
I need to get this for Zoe because it's like, they brought it back after so many years.
And then you could take it to the beach. When the candy's out, you could build sandcastles out of it.
I remember using it to put candy as trick-or-treating. I remember doing that as a kid. Oh, it was crazy.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
So cute. We all ate so much junk food in the 90s, you guys.
Oh, God.
It was not a healthy time.
No.
They invented so many things. Like, Gushers didn't even exist before that.
No.
Like, Now and Later is like all these things. Like, Hot Cheetos didn't even exist.
No.
That's our generation's food. That's what we contributed.
I forgot about Now and Later. Those shit was so fucking hard to eat.
I love Now and
We
Later.
suck on them the whole period.
Yeah. I just like sticking my tongue out
and
at people.
And then you would like find in your backpack a few left and you're just like, fuck yeah, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
Always the blue ones. That's all I ever got. I wanted it to be that obnoxious every time.
I noticed the blue.
Warheads, the blue ones.
Warheads.
Yeah. Blue raspberry for life. Not that I eat candy ever anymore. I'm like full team chocolate. I'm a grown woman. Chocolate's all that matters to me. I don't like candies.
Wait, what kind of chocolate do you?
Dark chocolate.
Do you have like a brand? That
Oh,
you like
no, I'm not. I'm pretty open-minded.
Oh, okay. Well, you need to try. What's that chocolate from that restaurant? My favorite restaurant. I can't remember. Louis Vuitton. The fuck am I saying? Louis Vuitton. It's Bottega Louis.
Oh, yeah.
The chocolate there is good.
Cool. Yeah. I've had their macarons, but
you have to try the chocolate.
Okay.
He was like, oh man,
yeah?
it's amazing.
The one in downtown LA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't been there in years.
Which I did. Oh god.
Years.
It's my favorite.
Because it's expensive.
Not if you know what to order.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not if you know.
Well,
what to
yeah,
order.
but it's like, don't you want to go there and just not care? And just be like, $500 tab. Let's do it. Best bottle of wine.
No, there's like these little snacks that I love. I always order when we're going there because it's really delicious.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
My partner and I are having our anniversary really soon. I'm like, maybe we should go there.
It's really
I haven't thought about that place in so long.
Oh god, it's so good. Okay. Like their portobello mushrooms, French fries, like, it's so good, and their meatballs.
Okay.
Oh, damn. Yeah. I told him like that's like my favorite place.
She's very excited.
But the chocolate's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, he's tried it. I haven't tried it yet. Good to know. But he got like a box that had all kinds of different kinds of chocolates in there. What was your favorite one in there?
I think it was like a coconut pineapple white chocolate.
Ew. Wild.
That's fancy.
That's wild.
That's very fancy too. Like it's a coconut pineapple white chocolate.
Wow. That's fun.
Remember the elevator?
When you do go and you park in the parking structures that has levels right across the street.
Okay.
And I hope you remember, but just the elevator, pay attention to the voice.
Okay.
Because the voice is hilarious.
Okay.
And it's like 1 level, 2 level.
Right.
Yeah, pay attention to the voice.
Okay.
Everybody that we take, they're just like, what the fuck? Like, literally, they're like, did we just experience that? So, yeah. So if you go to the parking structure.
I'll let you know.
I hope you do, because when you're going to be like, oh, shit. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay.
Yeah. It's funny. I cannot say anything, because it's like,
don't say anything. Yeah. Don't say anything. Keep it a surprise. I'll remember.
That's so funny. So what do you do when you're stressed out?
When I'm stressed out.
Yeah. When you're stressed out, you're
Let's
just like
see.
having a bad moment. What are your mantras? What's
If
your
it's-
routine to like get out of that funk?
If it's like something where it's like a really gigantic thing that's stressing me out, like life at large, it's like it's required like it's not like an in the moment stress out thing. It's just like all of life. Then I very much am a nature person. Nature is like my peace and my
go, like,
happiness.
hiking or
To
take
go
a walk, yeah.
hiking, to go camping, to go just put myself out somewhere and just sit and stare
Yeah.
and like take everything
Something about
in.
like nature and just like absorbing that energy is
Yeah.
very healthy.
I just think for me, and I know for a lot of other people, but it's just an opportunity to dissolve like your ego and to dissolve like the things that humans think matter, and puts into perspective that like human existence is completely unimportant and fleeting. Like I think there's most humans are humanists, meaning they put humans above all other species or creatures on this planet, and I'm not that. I don't think humans are the most interesting thing. I don't think they're the most important thing. I care a lot about plants. I care a lot about bugs. I care a lot about animals. Like, we don't kill anything in our household. We catch them and we take them outside type of stuff. So I think just having that, like, really big step back to be like, literally everything that is out this window, for example, is completely manufactured and not real and actually doesn't matter. It's just because one person is like, this matters, or else you're not like a worthy being, and like you're worthless and you're not working hard enough, and you're like, none of that's true.
Yeah. They put this
Like,
at the top of
yeah.
the chain of the triangle. Yeah.
And
When
you're
it's
like, I am
yeah.
worthy. Like, I am doing the right thing. I am okay. I am enough.
So
I
that's
am.
what you like. Do you meditate when you're out there?
Just being there is meditation. I think just hiking in general. Like, my boyfriend and I don't talk a lot when we hike. I think a lot of people hike and it's like a social thing. We normally hike in silence. Unless something, we're like, look at that or
Oh, when
something.
it works, yeah.
But
yeah.
and it's not because we planned it. It's just how we are together
Yeah.
in that space. But it's great. We just exist and walk and look and smell and see and like feel and hear, and it's just being present.
Yeah.
And when you're just present, that is meditation, right?
Yes, it is.
Because you're not in your head.
That's
You're
what
just present.
That's what I tell
Yeah.
people. Like, I remember talking to someone about meditation, and I'm like, well, it was like, I can't. Oh, yeah, I remember it was Daniela. If you hear this, Daniela, I'm talking about you. It's when she's like, oh, I can't really do this, and stay still. And I told her, it's not about that. I told her, it's about finding a way for you to just, like, relax. And it doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean that you need to shut your brain and have everything quiet. It's a space for you to
There's
feel,
different levels,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a space for you to just, like, relax and just, like, take in and breathe in
Yeah.
and make sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
I was like, or sometimes meditation could be like just reading a book.
Yeah.
I told her just sitting down comfortably and reading a book,
Yeah.
or taking a walk, you know. It's
Taking a walk for sure.
it's
Yeah.
not, I told her, it's not really the stigma of, like, sitting down. She's
Yeah.
like, I can't even cross my legs. And I was like,
think,
it's not that.
The
It's not that.
primary, I think, like, using the words check-in is probably, like, the easiest
you
way to
check
boil it
in.
down.
Yeah.
So you either check in with, like, how am I feeling? It could be, like, even that, which
Yeah.
is more, like, affirmation than probably meditation, but it still works.
Yeah.
I think meditation normally is just, like, it's presence, meaning not future think, not past think, not like, oh, I forgot, and no, I should, and no, I didn't, and it's, you have to, like, be like, right now, like, it's the check-in, you're like, I'm alive, I feel sore right here, but that's okay, I could stretch that later.
Journaling.
I can,
It's like
like,
journaling.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
it's just a
journal.
moment
Yeah.
of pause,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Which
It
is
is.
why, like, it goes back to breathing, because, like, you have to breathe no matter what, like, for your whole life.
Yeah.
So,
You
like,
can't
that
just stop,
moment of
yeah.
pause is, like, I'm actively noticing that I'm breathing instead of it just happening automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so, like, big picture stuff, like, nature's definitely my thing. Smaller stuff, like, where it's, like a fleeting emotion or, like, something like that. Like, I am really blessed and grateful to have an outlet like music, because I do put, like, I write.
Yeah.
So I write, or I play, and not all of it is something that I share with people. I don't share everything that I've ever written with people. I write poems too, like, especially, I either write poems about nature that are really positive, or I write really, really dark, fucked up poems, because it's when I need to write, I want to
Yeah.
get it out of my body, so
Yeah.
I'm not poisoning myself,
It's your
sinking
point of
in it.
venting, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So writing and just, like, or playing music is very helpful. And then I'm not gonna lie, like, sometimes I'm like, I feel like shit, and that's okay. And, like, the biggest thing is not judging yourself for feeling like shit. I can remember a time when I'd be like, I'm feeling like shit and I have it so good, and I, like, have this, and, like, I, like, sideswipe my feelings, but it's, like, it's comparing yourself to others doesn't help it. It's going to make you feel even more shitty.
Yeah.
So the point is to be like, it's okay that I feel like shit. So what that means for me today...
Hear what she said, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes, for me, that means, yeah, I'm going to fucking binge watch this show for the next 3 hours, and I'm going to let myself have a big-ass bowl of ice cream, and that's, like, what I want to do right now, and that's a very, like, human processing. It's not a conscious processing or, like, a spiritual processing at all.
No.
But it depends on what it is. So sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm not having it today, and I, like, want to sulk and sit and feel bad and not have someone say that I'm not allowed to feel bad. Like, I want to feel bad for 5 minutes and know that it'll pass.
Yeah.
Like, especially if I'm like, I feel bad, I acknowledge that I feel bad, and then maybe the next step would be, why do I feel bad? That'd be the healthy thing to do, is be like, why do I feel bad? And not to shut it off, but to recognize what started it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing you're saying that, because that's what this platform, this podcast is all about. It's about recognizing these moments and also validating and saying, it's okay to do this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like nobody can tell you, like, what you're doing is bad. No, it is okay. You need to feel not good, but just feel the fact that it's normal to feel this. Yeah. You're not alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So take the bowl of ice cream, binge watch whatever you want to,
or go on a walk,
or go
on a run, or like people whatever,
and then always recognize those, you know, like you said, you know, the first thing is to go through this, and then the next step would be to, like, why is this happening, you know, and that's great to do too,
and that's where we don't get most of the time, right?
No.
Like, we get to some people aren't even aware that they're feeling a feeling, right? They're just, like, so deep in themselves that they are aware of it, which is okay, but the hope is that you can be like, I am feeling this. What caused it? Like, is it okay that it caused it? Is it a me thing that's just a trigger thing, or did someone actually inflict harm onto me? Those kinds of questions. And then, like, process. I want to give, like, quick credit to my boyfriend, because I do feel grateful to have a presence and a person in my life who's really good. Like, he's one of the healthiest people I know at acknowledging and processing feelings. Like, he doesn't push them down. He doesn't, like, where he's like, it's fine. Like, it's not always at a pace that makes me happy. So then I get frustrated, because I feel like as women, like, we are blessed with the ability to process our feelings immediately.
Really fast.
And in real time.
Anthony knows that.
Yeah. And with people. Like, we can process with people really fast, immediately in time, and talk about it right away, right? But, like, my partner, who's a guy, identifies as a guy as well, he... like, sometimes, like, he'll sit there just, like, with himself and next to me, and I'm like, hello, like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'll get all, like, pissed off, and he's like, I'm just feeling, like, this way, and I just, like, want to, like, feel how it feels, and, like, I know it's gonna pass, so I don't need to talk about it, because it's just, like, it's gonna be gone in a second, but right now I'm feeling, like, this way, and I'm like, okay, that's far out, man. Because I feel like we're more inclined to be like, I feel this way, and fuck you, and it's your fault, right? Versus being like, they made me mad. Why did they make me mad? Like, to yourself.
Yes.
Like,
that's hard.
I think I'm mad because, like, it reminds me of this, or it's like, bringing me back to this period of time, or like it made me feel small, or it made me, and I'm like, it's hard. It's super hard.
That's the cool part about this, is that we're like this right now, because I can relate what you're saying, is because the experience, and we are starting to recognize, like, okay, we need to get the root of, like, what's going on here. But if we were to go back and rewind time and go back to our 20s, like, we would be like, I don't know what the fuck that means. And this is what this platform is. It's like, women that are actually in their 20s and listening to this, when you are not feeling good, guess what? It's not just going through those moments of eating ice cream and binge watching.
Or going out and partying.
Or any of that. It's like, you do all that to get out of your system, but then take a moment to be like, why did I feel that? Like, write in the journal, think about it, or just put a question out there, put a sticky note and be like, why did I feel that? And even if you leave it there and you forget it, you go back and be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Just because that's, like, a practice for you to do. We didn't realize this until later on in life.
Yeah.
And this is something, like, where I want people to know, get that. Like, try to ask yourself, why are you feeling that? You know, like, get to the root of it.
The baby check-ins.
Yeah, the baby check-ins. Yeah.
The day, like, I think having those, I think, like, especially, like, living where we live, I don't know if it's like this everywhere. Some places have different pace, right? But where we live, it's a fast pace of life. It is a fast pace
compared to other places.
Yeah, and you don't always have the opportunity to do those check-ins, but I think, like, the friends in my life that I'm really inspired by, like, they, whether it's in the morning or at night or, like, whatever time of day, like, you're awake and this works for you, like, just having one moment to be like, how do I feel and what do I want to accomplish tomorrow?
Exactly.
Those kinds of things. How do I feel about today? And, like, also, like, with the 20s thing, too, like, I want to say this only because I had deep struggle with this forever and probably still now. I'm a very, like, extroverted, very open, very loving person, and I like welcoming people into my energy to the point where sometimes I give away too much of myself, but it's just, it's who I am and it's who I will be forever.
Who you are, yeah.
But I think, like, trying to, like, find that moment where, like, if you feel bad after you leave someone, like, not just making excuses for them or, like, or blaming yourself for it, but just take a moment to be like, why do I don't feel good, and be like, I don't have to hang out with them. I don't have to give them my energy. And I also don't need to make them feel bad about them not being a good match for me. I don't need to make them feel bad, and I don't want to feel bad myself. So I'm going to remove myself from this person, and if they need an explanation, then I'll go there. But for now, it's like, you don't owe people explanations all the time for everything, which is really hard, right?
Yeah, it's hard to validate that in the end and be like, it's okay, you know.
But if you want to, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it is closure.
It's your choice.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to, like, go to someone and be like, you know, this, like, I don't feel like we're on the same page in life or in the same place, and I wish you the best, and you're great, and it's nothing personal. I'm just going to go over here. Like, you don't need to, like, be like, you make me feel like shit, man. Like, you don't have to make them feel bad in the process.
You don't. I think a professor of mine in college, who was it? He told me, a psychologist, he told me, you know, because I told him, you know, I lost contact with my friends and they just don't want to talk to me because I'm with so-and-so. And I try to reach out and they're like, well, you know, they don't want to reach out back to you. So, like, you need to move on.
Yeah.
Like, and that move on is
accepting
accepting that.
Oh, that's
and then just
so painful,
moving
though.
on. And he's like, they don't want to talk to you. You did what you had to do. Now it's your job to work on, like, all right, you did what you did. Move on from that. It is what it is. And
it's
I was just
so
like,
painful, though.
I was just like,
Oof.
oh my God, really? Like, this is, and I was 25 at the time, so I was like, this is hard. But I took that, and I'm 37 now, and I still think, like, yes, even though there's closure, there is closure. Closure
it's
that
your closure,
your closure.
Yeah.
And that's hard for someone
so
to,
hard.
So hard for
So
someone
hard.
to, like, actually say, like,
Yeah.
my closure? Like, yes, your closure.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean both parties.
Yeah.
It means yours. Because
Yeah.
once yours is done, you can move on.
It's so intense.
Yeah.
And also, like, it's hard to remind yourself, and, like, with your example, that, like, that they didn't want to write back to you also may have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
They may be, like, completely depressed or overworked or having their own thing, and they don't have the want or the willingness to, like, communicate about their life to you.
Yep.
So it might not even have anything to do with, like, they literally aren't getting back to you because they don't like you or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
Yeah. It's because it's those things, those ideas that you're thinking, and you're just like, you're trickling down to that rabbit hole, and
it's scary.
That's where you have to stop yourself, and that's where he told me, like, no, closure has to start with you.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh,
I will say, though, like, I saw someone, this was a total meme thing. I did see someone post something that said that, like, finding, I guess it was, like, normalizing, like, talking about how losing friendships can be just as, like, completely disruptive and, like, painful as losing, like, a relationship.
Because it's a relationship.
We never talk about it, though.
No,
we don't talk
I
about it.
always tell people, your
like,
friends,
when your friend goes,
your
like,
friends are relationships.
Yeah.
It's like, not boyfriend, girlfriend, but it's a relationship. So you're going to go through those 5 stages of grief when you guys break up.
It's like mourning.
Yeah. It is.
And, like, not even understanding that.
I have to say, like, that's how I felt when I lost my friend.
Yeah.
And they were, like, the bestest friends ever. And shit happened, and I was like, fuck. And now I reflect back and see, and I'm like, yeah. And that's why I tell people, like, when you're friends, I tell them, you know how many friends I have? I'm like, I have a hundreds of friends, but you know how many you really have? Like maybe a handful.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones I really want to have a relationship with. That I can be like, we're pissed, but we'll still talk.
Yeah.
Or we're pissed and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, I've had my friend German for like, over 10 years. And there was a time where I just got really pissed at him.
Yeah.
And I didn't talk to him for months. And then we started talking back again. And we're just like, oh, I miss you, man. I love you. And all that stuff. But it's a relationship. That's what people need to know, too. Your friends are relationships, too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That energy being spent there, that's energy being spent with your friend. So, yeah.
It's hard.
It's not
hard.
easy.
I still, that's, one of my biggest, trigger wounds, actually.
Yeah.
Is, not feeling reciprocated ever.
Oh.
Yeah. Almost ever. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm really lucky to have, a really great partner and boyfriend and it's not that I'm putting, he doesn't, fulfill 100% of roles for me, which, they shouldn't, because that's not healthy.
No.
But, yeah, I have actively, because it's courting. If you want new friends, you got to court them. Heads up. But, you're courting them. You're we're going out. We're doing things. It's active. Yeah. But, especially during the shutdown, I'm, not one person is are you alive? Are you okay? I haven't heard from you, a million years.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding. Literally, one person, and then my partner and my parents. It was like that. And I was like, man, the LA music scene's really shallow, I guess. And I just am so deeply entrenched into it. I just didn't realize it. But I was and then I had one person be like, this is another important thing, I think, especially living where we live. Again, maybe not relevant to everyone on the planet, but I had someone tell me, you're loved. And I was like, admiration is not the same thing as partnership. You can admire someone or appreciate someone without putting energy into and compassion and care and wanting them to know that you care that they're alive or include them in your life with actively include them. So I'm that's where there's a lot of lack, I think, culturally among at least actors and musicians and stuff. But I also think it's because a lot of them are as creatives going through their own. They're all at their own place of mental development and emotional development.
Yes. I was about to say yes.
Yeah, and a lot of them are they're very focused on what they're doing and that's it. And I think it's been a lesson for me to be not everyone is capable of focusing on themselves. I have this skill and I'm grateful where I can focus on myself and other people at the same time and it doesn't stress me out. Yeah. It doesn't overwhelm me to keep track of other people's lives or care or be how you been or that doesn't stress me out. What stresses me out is when it doesn't get reciprocated and then I'm they don't care and then I have to stop, write that down trickle and provide myself my own. You're that's not what's happening and they have their own thing and it just is what it is and they care about you in their own way.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. It's just that closure. You got to just do it yourself. Yeah. Well,
it's painful though.
I will be asking if you're okay. I'm always motivating everybody and be oh my god, that looks amazing, you look beautiful. I'm always doing that to everybody because it's I don't know, I just feel I'm the kind of little bit opposite of you, where I love to throw shit at you in that sense, but I'm not expecting for it to be returned back to me because my satisfaction is just giving. But I totally get the whole what the heck.
It's not community reciprocating. Yeah. It's individuals.
Individuals, yeah.
That that you're friends
that you would
with.
think it'd be what's up, man? Do you know I'm still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. That sucks.
It's the plight of being an artist. You always feel alone in the world.
I remember when that happened. I text all my friends and be fuck, are you alive? Is everybody alive? Is everybody okay? I remember just saying are you okay? Are you okay? Is everything okay? Because I knew my friend German, he has anxiety problems and he has ADHD. So I was just dude, are you okay? He's yeah. No, it's perfect. I get to chill, play games. I was okay, whatever. It's whatever. And then my sister too was well, that's family. But yeah, I did reach out friends and stuff because I was oh.
I actively was reaching out. I made friendship bracelets. I was mailing people stuff and little crafts that I'd make or cards and be hope you're doing good and having a good day.
And nothing?
No one mailed me anything back but one person. But also I'm dude, you young people, they don't know how to reciprocate gifts and shit. It's not about that. I don't expect it at all. But it's fun. Yeah. It's just for fun. It's not one of my friends mailed me back like a fake flower like crown. And I'm like, am I ever gonna wear that? Absolutely not. But was it adorable? Yes. It was funny and adorable that she sent that to me in the mail during the shutdown when I won't be leaving my house to go anywhere.
It's the small things. Yeah, it's like,
it was fun.
Yeah, it's those
Yeah.
things.
But I relate to like the giving thing.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's fun.
But again, like, I know everyone has their own levels of like anxiety, like you're saying, their own levels of like they can't even is the sentence. They like literally can't even.
Yeah.
And some people I know they can't even, and because I know that, I'm like, all right, it's fine.
Yeah, because if you kind of think about it, not to say that they were super fucked up for not, replying back to you. We don't know what was going through, people's houses. I mean, at the time, there was a lot of like violence happening.
It was wild, yeah.
It was pretty crazy. We don't know if this is really affecting them to the point where they are shutting down everybody.
Yeah.
Or they're just like, you know what, right now I'm just going to put everything aside and just focus on my family and just work on that.
Yeah.
So at the time, it was just, everybody was like, on their own, basically. I remember it was, for me, for the first couple months, it was like vacation, because prior to that, I was working like 7 days a week for like 2 years straight.
Oh my gosh.
So for me, I was just like, I was worried, but at the same time, I was like watching all the Avenger movies at like the order it was supposed to go, and I was like, all right, cool, because I barely had got Disney Plus, and I was like, all right, let's just do this. Why not? Because seriously, I was
so
just like,
funny.
I was trying not to get to depressed mode, because I was like, fuck, I lost my business. Like, my business was already striving. I was already about to leave my job. I was making double the amount I was making there, and it fucking, like, sucked.
I'm so sorry.
In my head, I was just like, I have to use up all my savings to, like, take care of the business, because there's nothing coming in and out.
Right.
And I just remember, like, you know what? Like you said, you eat your ice cream and binge watch. That's what I did. I was just like, this is a vacation. I'm just going to, like, watch movies.
Do you want to know something I did? I have to tell you.
What is it?
Only because it's so ridiculous and embarrassing, and I want to humanize myself a little bit. But, like, literally, I watched every episode of Sex of the City ever made while on the movies, while I was coloring those, like, very tiny mandalas.
Those mandalas.
That are, like, tiny, like, each thing,
So you're, like, coloring while you're...
While I was drinking, like, wine. I'm not kidding you.
Oh, shit.
I was, like, watching. I did that until I watched every single episode, and I'm like, some of those episodes are very, like, outdated. Like, not relevant, kind of racist, kind of weird. But I was like, I don't know if I've ever watched every episode of Sex and the City.
Oh,
and
geez.
it was hilarious.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I
gosh.
definitely did some stuff like that.
Oh, for me, it was Frasier.
Frasier.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's old.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's old. Because I studied psychology, so I was like, oh, this is interesting. I would rewatch that, and then
That's so funny.
I would rewatch Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yeah. I had a friend who watched all of that, too.
Yeah. Not like someone who likes Smallville.
Yeah.
Someone like
Smallville.
It was super messed
Yeah.
up.
I've never watched that.
I remember watching it and then, like, got off of it because I was just like, I'm not really interested. Yeah, but I was Buffy the Thing, and then Frasier and Friends. Friends was coming a lot, so I was just like, well, why not? Like, I was just like, might as well just, why not revisit this again? Why not? Really?
I'm the one person. I'm not allowed to talk about it because people get very upset.
Oh, no.
I just like Will and Grace so much better. Why watch Friends when you can watch Will and Grace? That's how I feel.
You know,
the writing is so much better. The
Will and
jokes are
Grace?
funnier.
Yeah, Will and
So
Grace.
it makes you way more uncomfortable.
You know
I
which
love
one?
that.
What reminds me of Will and Grace before Will and Grace came out? It was this lawyer guy with this hippie chick. I just can't remember the name of the show.
I don't know.
It was like this Laura. He was a lawyer. It was like very like part of business, corporate, and then he had married
from the 90s.
Yeah, it's from the 90s. And then she was like this really hippie chick, and this one thing that she did that I loved, and I still keep it till today, was that she's like, all right, so you want all your negativity, blow it up in a bubble. She's like, put it in a bubble, and she's like, this imaginary bubble, put all your negativity. I was like, and then blow it away. It was hilarious. That stuck with me, and I was like,
that's fun.
Yeah, Will and Grace is amazing. I like that.
So good. It's so messed up. Oh my gosh. Have you watched it recently? It is messed up.
Not the recent ones. I haven't watched
No. I mean, just have you watched any of the episodes recently?
Oh, no.
It's messed up.
What?
It didn't age. All those shows from the 90s are, like, to today's standards, racist, sexist. like homophobic, like, but they were taking the like they're intentionally writing like that because that was like what that period of time was comedically.
Oh jeez.
Oh, some of it did not age well, but it's so funny. Like Karen, that character.
Oh, geez.
That Karen.
Yeah, Karen.
Literally.
Karen.
She's genius.
Yes.
Oh, she's so horrible.
Yes.
I love her.
I do.
She's the worst.
I hate to say that, but out of the whole character there, she's my favorite.
She's everyone's favorite.
She's my favorite.
She's
And
the
she's
best.
horrible.
It's because she's such a bitch.
Jeez, but she owns it. That's the
But in
thing.
the best way,
I think that was the thing I liked
She's
about
a
it.
rich, racist bitch. That's
yes.
what a Karen. And I was like, and then my partner was like, I'm pretty sure that's why they call them Karens. It's because of the show. And I was
where
like,
it started probably.
I was like, oh,
I'm
that
pretty
makes
sure.
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Why?
But she's a rich,
They're
entitled,
watching this and you're a
wino,
fucking
like,
Karen.
yeah, literally. So fun.
I think the one thing
So
I
fun.
took from there in her character that I loved was the fact that she was like no filters, which
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you can go life without no filters.
Yeah.
And I love that she owned it.
Yeah.
'Cause she was just like, so.
Well, the problem is that she was too privileged to ever have to own it.
Yeah.
That's or
Yeah.
to understand.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But that's the thing. I want
No
people
awareness.
to know you can still own it. Doesn't matter if
Yeah.
you have privilege or not. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was. I wouldn't give her credit as to owning it.
No.
It's that
no.
she was such a white privileged bitch that she never had to be apologetic because she
No.
was so wealthy
Well,
and
that's
so
the thing.
white, which is
it's,
bad.
It's not the.
is
I would
bad.
say the variables there take out that privilege part.
Yeah.
For me, I just saw like, you don't have
Right.
to like submit to
Right.
others. You can do whatever
Yes.
you want, and that's what I
Which
liked.
is great.
That's what I
I'm
liked
glad
about
that
it.
you
That's
got
what I
that.
took that. Yeah, I didn't take the privilege part. I took.
I don't
the
think
part,
anyone
yeah.
did back then.
No, I don't think
Now,
so either.
through the lens of everything that has happened and everything
shit.
we have gone through,
Yeah.
and also with, again, maybe just like my interest in everything, it's like hard to not analyze it and be like, that show is celebrating privilege, wealth, and judgment. Because the whole thing is like that Jack never spends money on anything, Karen and Will pay for everything, and he just is like really cute and fun. So there's all these like really weird things where you're like, those are really toxic behaviors. Those are things we should not encourage or like applaud. It's like there's a lot of things about the show that's really bad. But yeah. But
I have to
again,
rewatch-
that actress
I have
is
to
just
like
so
pick
good.
up an episode and watch
Yeah.
it and be like, oh shit.
I watched
that was
every
right.
episode of Will and Grace too during the shutdown. I watched a lot of TV. Every Will and Grace, every Sex and the City, all of RuPaul, RuPaul's Drag Race.
yeah.
Obsessed. I watched every Avengers movie too. I did.
The RuPaul, I've been to almost. No, I missed out the last two
Seasons.
this year. No, the conventions. I've
Oh,
been
the
at it since
conventions.
like
Oh,
my
yeah.
20s, like when it started.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
I've never been to a convention. Just
to
watched
the
the shows.
RuPaul convention.
No, just watched the shows.
Fuck, I went to the first one. I have like photos. I got
That's
to
so
meet
wild.
him.
Really?
He smells beautiful.
Aw.
He's so freaking tall and soft, and
super
he
tall.
like smells so beautiful. Because I took the first 2 years, I took pictures, and then the second year too. It was
That's
pretty
so
cool.
funny.
It's badass when you go out
Yeah.
there with the drag queens and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like the only reason I'm like
So much
so into
vibe.
RuPaul is just
Yeah.
because it saved my mentality at the time where I was just like
Mm.
super bad. But I love Drag Race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
It's so good.
Oh gosh.
I know. They know.
Jinx.
Yeah.
I was really
they-
happy
they-
with that. Yeah.
Like on the All-Star season?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just like, yes, she won.
I think we all were.
Yes.
If people weren't, I'm like, you haven't watched all these episodes. You don't know.
No,
Like,
but you know, I
Jinx
did
deserved
like the like sort of like speakeasy they did instead of like singing, but they were just like wording a play or like a movie.
For the lip sync.
Yeah, I really liked that. I was just
wild.
like, this is
Yeah.
different. I really like this.
That's really
yeah.
wild.
Yeah, you should
That's
totally
hard.
go for a convention. It's fun.
Oh my god.
It's fun. I loved it. My daughter came with me at photos of her and me, and she's all like, look, it's a banana, like, drag queen.
That's so
yeah,
fun.
it's fun. I loved it. I was going
Okay.
to take him this year, but it just didn't hit right with the
Yeah.
timing, so I was like, oh, great.
That's so funny. I love it.
Let me ask, where can everybody find you?
In LA, no.
You're like, my address is
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Like, send me some, like,
Yeah.
funky flower crowns. Thank you.
All my internet stuff is at Brenda Carsey Art, all of it. And Carsey is Carsey. But literally everything. No one took it. It's all mine. No one stole Brenda Carsey Art. Except for like streaming platforms, it's just Brenda Carsey, obviously. But like all the socials and like website, YouTube, everything else has art in it. And I might as well share this too. So like I released 3 singles this year off my upcoming album.
Yeah.
So they're out there for people to experience. 2 music videos for those 3 singles. And I have 1 more single for this year that comes out October 28th. And I'm really excited about it. I'm so excited. That'll be the last one for the year. And then the full album from like this whole story, the shutdown and everything, is coming out in January of next year. So,
nice.
So soon.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that. Yeah.
And there, I have vinyl records. I have like these really beautiful like lyric and photography books. That's like all the photography from everything, from all the singles, from the album cover, like all of it.
Oh, nice.
And I'll be doing like a really big album release show. Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Yeah. Definitely.
But I'm so excited.
I'm so happy
Long
that
time
you're
coming.
here. I'm really excited. I'm really happy that you're here.
Thank you.
Extremely, because this is like, this platform needs more women like you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No,
It's
you're
fun.
welcome.